Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible, all of you? Is my screen visible to all? Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so any doubts? So download that file, then after that open it. So have you downloaded the file? Because that's kind of a drawing file, so it won't be opened easily. So I think you need to download it first. Okay, so if you will open the file, it will look something like this in GitHub. Okay, so that's why download the file and open the particular file in, I guess, Internet Explorer or any other browser. Or any other doubt, anyone? So shall we start the session? How to import OpenCV? First, you have to install OpenCV. So you can do one thing: Conda install OpenCV. So you will get a command. If you want to use Anaconda prompt, then you will get this command. Okay. Okay. So let's start the session now. So first of all, we have imported OpenCV, read image, check the shape, and we have got to know that this is the array, three-dimensional array we have with number of rows and column and three color channel, that is RGB. So first, how we are going to display the image, how we are going to show the image. And to show the image, we have a method known as cv2 dot I am show, and you have to pass the image inside this I am show method. But before executing this line of code, I'll start a loop. Inside that loop, I'll write this line. Why? Because when I will execute this line of code, until I close the window, it should not get closed. So that's why I'm using a loop. So after I click on the close button, or I will do one thing, I'll write if cv2 dot wait key, let's say 2 is double equals to 27, then I will write break. And after that, I'm going to write here cv2 dot destroy all window. Now what is this? I have written here while true, it will start a loop, show the image, and 27 is basically, what is this 27? It is the sky. Okay, so 27 is a sky number of escape. So if you will press escape, then the particular window will get terminated. Until you press the escape, it will keep you showing the image. And what is this wait key? Now, to understand the concept of wait key, let me show you what exactly the definition is. Just read this part. Okay, read this part and tell me whether you understand what is wait key or not. Are you able to understand what is wait key doing here? So basically, the function wait key waits for a key event infinitely in milliseconds. So 2 is the millisecond value when it is positive. Since the OS has a minimum time between switching threads, the function will not wait exactly delay, it will wait at least 2 milliseconds whenever you will press the escape. So it will wait at least 2 milliseconds whenever you will press the escape and then switch from one window to another window. So basically, it is applying a concept of multi-threading at the back. So it will run parallelly in the back. And when you will execute this code, we are getting errors. So in cv2.amshow, we have to pass two parameters. First parameter is, let's say, result, the name of the window that will be opened. Let's see the output. It will open a new window for you like this. Okay. So we have this outcome of cv2.imshow. So this window will not get closed if you will try to click here. This window will be closed only if I press escape. Okay. So this is the first thing, that whenever I want to perform a basic, I want to show the image, I just have to do one thing, that is cv2.imshow, pass two argument. One is the name of the result window, and then the array, the matrix you have, the image variable, and put a condition like whenever I will press the escape, it will wait for 2 milliseconds and then quit, and then destroy all window will quit the window that is open. Clear, everyone? Any doubt in this code? Anyone? Any doubts? Or is it clear to all of you? Give me a confirmation. And what about the rest of the others? Is it clear to all? Please give me a confirmation, everyone, so that we can move further. Okay. Thanks for giving the information. Now let's move forward. So now we know that how to basically implement this basic OpenCV part so that we can show the image to the user. Now we'll be doing one thing. We'll learn how to detect the face from the image. Okay. How to detect the face from image. So basically, to perform the face detection part, we have to do one thing first. We have to understand the concept of object detection, face detection, that how it is done. Okay. And to learn the concept how object detection part is done, we have to go through with one algorithm that is known as Voila-Jones algorithm. Have you heard about this algorithm, Voila-Jones? Anyone heard about this algorithm, Voila-Jones? So let me tell you, Voila-Jones, they are two person, Paul Voila and Michael Jones. In 2001, first time they started the concept of object detection. They introduced this concept. that today we are looking in a lot of applications in mobile phone face detection and recognition. In 2001, they introduced this thing, Voila and Johns. Okay, and what strategy they made to achieve this particular face detection part? The problem is divided into four parts. The algorithm has four stages: hair feature selection, creating an integral image, ADA boost, training, and cascading classifiers. So, what is this? So, first we have to talk about hair feature selection. Hair is the name of a mathematician. He's the name of that mathematician is Alfred Hare. Let me show you. There is a mathematician known as Alfred Hare. Okay, so according to his some theory and concepts, they introduced a feature known as Hare feature. What are the Hare features? These are the Hare features. Okay, so let me show you Hare features. Now, what is this Hare features? So Voila and Jones concluded one thing, that at each and every human face, how we are going to detect from an image that this is a human face. Okay, so if I have this image, there are few humans in this image, then how my algorithm will detect that whether this is a human face or something else. Okay, so what concept they made or what algorithm they had made, let's talk about it. So they said that in each and every human face, on each and every human face, if we place these hair features are these things that you are looking at right now here. These are the hair features. If we put these features on any human face in any image, then it will help you to detect whether the human face is available or not. How? Because it says that. Now let's look at this thing very carefully. All human faces share some similar properties that are matched using hair feature. What are the properties? The eye region is darker than the upper cheeks. The nose bridge region is brighter than the eyes. And then location and size of eyes, mouth, bridge of nose, then value oriented gradient of pixel intensities. These are the features that each and every human face has similar. Okay. Now, if I upload a file here in Photoshop and then I will show you. Okay, so let's say this is the image here we have, and I will do one thing. I will convert this image into grayscale first. Okay, first of all, do one thing, convert this image into grayscale. The first step is this. Why grayscale? So grayscale will convert the image into black and white, and after converting the image into black and white, each and every image will look same for the computer. Computer will only understand only two values for the grayscale black and white. Now, according to Voila Jones, they are saying the thing that each and every human face has similar property. And what are those property? Property is this, that this nose bridge region that you are looking right now, okay, this nose bridge region is white in color. It is bright if I compare this region with the left and right portions. So he's saying that this is black, and then this is white. So this is the meaning of putting hair feature on the face. And then again, the black layer at the right side. Are you getting my point, everyone? What I'm doing here? So, Voila Jones make this concept understand by these feature, like he's saying that put these feature on the face. Okay, like this. Put these feature on the face of human, or I'll say on any image. Just put these features on any image, and how you look at this thing by a sliding window. What is sliding window? Let me show you. Just put one window here. Start searching for the faces in this image from here. And now put those hair features in this black window and start like this. From left to right, start searching in the image whether the hair features are matching or not. Okay, like this, it will start moving throughout the image. And then there will be some points when these features will start matching. Let's say first it will match few features here. Now, when this sliding window will come at this position in this image, and it will start matching those hair features here. Getting my point, everyone? So let's take this image too. The feature we have put on here, like this. So let me make this one transparent. Now, let's look at this thing very carefully. This is my sliding window. This square is my sliding window. Okay, what my algorithm wants to do? My algorithm wants to detect these hair feature from this sliding window. Okay, and this sliding window is keep on moving like this from each and every portion, and it is keep on checking whether the hair features are matching here or not. Similarly, with the eye portion, the same thing will be done. Okay, so that's how it is shown here, that when my sliding window will reach at this point, it will start matching these black and white features, and it will check whether these hair features are available in this sliding window or not. If they are available, now if they are available, then I will say that one face is present at this location. Now how it will say? There is a mathematical formula for that, and they have written something here that if we are detecting any hair feature, just use this formula. Formula is sum of pixels in black area minus sum of pixels in white area. Okay, what is the formula? Sum of pixels in black area minus sum of pixels in white area, and subtract them, and you will get a value. And then you have to check whether this value is close to 0 or it is close to 1. If it is close to 0, then chances are that the face is not available. Okay, it's not a face, it's not a hair feature. If the value is close to 1, then it means there is a possibility that this is a hair feature. Okay, clear everyone what I told till now? That what exactly algorithm was going on behind? Guys, clear or not? Okay. So now finally we get to know that there is a sliding window which is keep on moving on the image, checking hair features one by one, doing some mathematics. But this was a very time-taking concept. Like just imagine doing this thing to sum of pixels in black area minus sum of pixels in white area, and now you have this hair feature. You will be applying that mathematics to each and every sliding window. So just imagine how much maths it will take. Okay, so how much time it will take? So there will be a lot of time complexity. That's why they introduced the concept of integral image. Now, what is integral image? Integral image is something like this. Okay, so let's see what is this. This is the original image. Okay, this is the actual image. And how the second image was converted, I'll show you using some maths here. How they converted the second image. So the second concept after getting the hard features is because it is time taking, it is very time complexity was increasing. So they introduced the second feature, that is the hard feature selection. So they said, do one thing. 31 is available at this point, write 31. Okay, so you can see 31 is written here. After that, here we have 2. So add 31 and 2 and write 33. Simple. After that, we have 37. 31 plus 2 plus 4. So that's why 37. So add them up. So that's why we have 70 here. We have 75. That's why we have 111. So this is the first row that created from this image. Now, how second row and column will be created? Now let's say if this is 12. So add 31 plus 12, you will get 43. Now add 31 plus 2 plus 12, you will get 71. Okay, then instead of 9, if you want to the position of 9, you will add these three value and these three value, you are getting 84. Then after that, for 10, add all the values here. It is saying that it is 127, then 161, then 222. Okay, now for this 13, add these three things, 31 plus 12 plus 13, like this, and keep on doing this. Okay, keep on doing this thing. So let's say it is saying 101. How 101 is coming instead of 17? Just add these value. 101 will come. Okay, is it clear that how we are getting this integral image? The second image, how it is created from the first one? Clear, everyone? How this image is made? How the numbers are coming here? It is just summing up all the left and the top values from that particular point. So if we have 200, so 200 will come if I add all these values, not these one, only the 31, 33, 37, 70, 127, then these value will be calculated from here. So first add these rows, then these rows, then these rows, and add them all, then you will get 200. So this is the concept of integral images, but why it is created, how I will get the benefit of this integral image. So first of all, if this is my original image, so what was happening in this original image was, whenever I try to detect the hair feature, okay, let's say you are detecting some hair feature in this image. So what was happening here is, so what was happening is, let's say if there is a, let's see one thing. If I have black and white pixel, something like this, okay, just focus on the black part, the black marker I am using right now. Okay, so let's say we have divided this into two parts. This is my, let's say, black pixel and this is my white pixel. So I have to sum 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. So I have to calculate total on 20 values. I have to calculate total on 20 values. Then I will get the value, the final I was talking about here. This value we was talking, whether it is close to 0 and 1. What integral image does? Okay. Now let's say if I want to calculate the area of this particular box, the box that they are showing, the purple one. Okay. So we will be talking about this purple box. Now look at this thing very carefully. The purple box contains the values 50. Let me write down here so that you will be able to relate the things. So we have 15, 16, 14, 28, 27, 11. Okay. Just pay attention to this very carefully. I am talking about this purple box that we have to do a basic calculation. If I do the sum of this particular, there will be some answer. So answer is written already at the bottom. Answer is 111, triple one. It is saying the answer will be 101. Okay. So it is saying if you add these 6 value, you will get 111. What if I tell you that I can get this answer by adding 4 values only? By adding and subtracting 4 values. What are the 4 values? Okay. So similarly, draw the box here. So instead of 15, we have 197A. So draw the box here. So this is the box here we are talking about. Okay. So this box and this box is same. The only difference is this is the original image and this is integral image. Now, what is the algorithm? Algorithm is this is the first value. So take the top left value of this, that is 101. Okay. The 197 is written here. Go to the top left, that is 101. Pick this. Add this value 450, the value presented bottom right, minus 254, the value at the top right, and subtract the value at the bottom left, 186. The answer will be 11. Are you getting a point? Like, what is the magic going on here? It's kind of magic, obviously. We created an integral image from here, and if I just add or subtract these 4 values, I'll get the same answer. Now, what is the magic? Magic is I am using 6 value here, getting 111. I am using 4 value, I am getting 111. If I take instead of 6, 20 values, okay, if I add 20 values and let's say I am getting something answer, I'll get the same answer by these 4 values by top, left, right, bottom concept that we did here. Is this point clear to you or not? So you can see at the bottom 101 plus 450 minus 254 minus 186. The answer will be same. Why it is giving me the same answer again and again? I am repeating the same thing because if I add these 6 value or instead of these 6 value, I'll use 4 value. The answer will be same. And in case if you have a box, a big box which contains 20 values. So let's consider a big box here. Okay. So if I talk about this box, so I hope you are able to see the box I'm drawing right now. So if I add all the value of this box, let's say I'm getting 1000. Okay, let's say. So if I draw black box here and I'm saying if I add all the value, I'm getting 1000. I will do only one thing. I will I will use 31 minus 31 plus 450 minus 75 minus 110. The answer will be 1000. This is the magic. By using only 4 values, I can get the answer. I do not have to take those 20 values to get this answer. So now you can imagine how much your calculation will get ease. So how it time complexity will be reduced. Only 4 value will be used instead of 20 or 30 values. So I hope it is clear to everyone what is integral image. Clear everyone? Give me a confirmation. That first 2 points are clear. What is Haar data, Haar cascade, and then second thing, what is integral image? So why we move towards the integral image? The one thing is I'm telling you right now is the background of phase reduction, how it is done at the back. We do not have to implement this mathematical calculations and all, but this is the maths that Voila and Jones implemented before this part. Now after that, the two concepts we have ADA boost training and cascading classifier. Now, do you know what is ADA boost? Any idea, anyone? What is ADA boost? Any idea, anyone?
Rhythm.
Basically, ADA boost means adaptive boosting. ADA boost means adaptive boosting. It is a part of decision tree. Generally, we talk this thing in decision tree. What it does is, from the weak learners, it makes strong learners. Let me write down what I'm saying here. First of all, ADA boost means adaptive boosting. Okay, it learns from the weak learners and make strong learners. Now, what does this mean? Weak learner, strong learner. This means that they said one thing like, if I will do this thing with the image, with the full image, the chances of a face in an image is very low, like 1% to 2% chance is there that the image, the face is there or not. Okay, there is only 1 to 10% chances that whether this image has a face or not. Okay, now after that, my algorithm will keep on searching in whole image where is the hard features are matching and doing integral image part and doing the mathematics and lot. There will be a lot of time taking and wasting thing. So what they said is, do one thing, search for a hair feature in the image. Let's say they search for eye. Okay, now let me pick this one and move this sliding window to a little bit here. Or let's say to some other image. So we won't get any confusion here. So let's say my window is here. Okay, now you have to give me the answers. I will ask few things from you guys. Okay, my sliding window is here. It will start searching the eye. Will it get the eye detected or not? The hair feature will match with the eye or not? Yes or no? Why? There is one eye will be detected. So let me tell you what exactly will happen. When it will start detecting the face, it will start implementing the hair cascade feature. If it says that if I detect a single eye, if I search for another eye, and if in this particular box there is only one eye, there is not the second eye. Okay, there is not the second eye available. So it will discard this window. It will move forward and check again. And now let's say the box is here. Now let's say the box is here. It finds the one eye, then it will search for second eye, it is again matched. It will search for nose, it is again available. Then it is searching for lips, it is again. So all the features are matching. What if my box is here? Now what will happen? Whether the face will be detected or not? Tell me. If the box is here, will it be able to detect the face? No. Why? Because only eyes are detected, and after detecting the eyes, it is searching for nose. Nose is not detected, so it will move forward. It won't check for the next parts, next feature. So it discard the window in one shot if any one of the feature is not available in the sliding window. So that's how it start learning from the weak learner to strong learner. So first it is learning that there is an I. Okay, it's a part for me. Now I will go forward for the next part. I. It makes a strong learner. Now I will search for the next part of the face. It again matches. It is again a strong learner that is getting a face. But if any one of the feature is not matching, it will discard. So this is the concept of face detection, that how it is done. So what we have to do now is we have to search for hair cascade data. Okay, so how we have to detect the the face from the image? We have to search for hair cascade data. So there is a GitHub link. Here we can get a lot of files that will help you to detect the faces, eyes, body, license plate, smile, a lot of things we can detect from the images. So let's say if I want to detect the face, then I will recommend you to use this file, hair cascade frontal face default.xml. Okay. I have shared the link, and might be I have pasted 2 times. Let me share it again. Okay, so I have shared the link. Now the latest link. Please go through with the latest link I have shared. You will get this file which is able to detect the faces from the images. So we are going to use this file. So how to use this file? First of all, we have to load Cascade classifier and then pass the file name into this. So this is the hair dataset. Okay. So what is the first step? First step is to load this particular file. Now the second step is to detect the face from a file, from an image. So to detect the face, we have hair dataset dot detect multi-scale and pass your image inside this, and let's see what is the output. It is saying that your image has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces. It is saying that my image has 5 faces. But how many faces we had in the image? Do you remember when I showed you the image? How many faces we had in the image? Only 2. But it is saying that there are 5 faces. It means there is something wrong. We have to look after it. Why it is showing me 5? We'll see. So copy this code, paste it here, and write down for now what these 4 parameters are: x, y, width, height. Okay, so it is saying I have found 5 faces, and this is the x of face, y, width, and height. So I will write for x, y, width, height in faces CV2 dot rectangle. I will draw a rectangle over the faces wherever it has detected that there is some face. So CV2 dot rectangle, and I will pass the image, then the XY, then width and height will be passed like this: x plus w, comma y plus height. Then the border color. What is the color of border you want? So it takes in BGR instead of RGB. It takes in BGR, that is blue, green, and red. 255,255,0. And finally the border thickness. Okay, now let's try to execute. So these are the 5 rectangle it is showing. So it is saying these are the 5 faces I found. 2 faces are correct, 3 faces are wrong. Okay, so now we have to do parameter tuning. What is parameter tuning? Let me show you. So the moment it detected the face, I have to pass one parameter, let's say 1.2. 1.2 means I am scaling, I am zooming in 20%. And after zooming in 20%, it is saying that I found one face. Okay. So let's do one thing first. Just copy this so I can load this thing again. Okay. So it is saying I'm found it has found 3 faces. It is saying that I found 3 faces now. After doing 1.2, it means 2 things will be reduced. So let's run the code here. Still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's put this whole code in a single cell. Then we'll be able to get the answers correctly. Okay. Still showing 5 rectangles. Let's do one thing. Okay. I have written this line 2 times, so let me delete it. So first VT image, then faces, then this loop, then this. Okay, sorry. So I just remove 1.2 from here. Now, these are the three faces that it is showing you. Still, I want to see only two faces. So I will scale few more, like 1.25. Well, might be I will get the correct answer now. 1.25, it means 25% zoom, 28% zoom in. Finally, we got the correct answer. So we have to zoom in a little bit. So it will make some parts easy for my system to detect the edges. So the whenever you zoom in to an image, it makes easier for computer to detect the edges. Now it's hard to detect the edges. Why? Because it's not easy to detect the edges from this image. But what if I zoom in? I will be able to see the grid. Grid means the array, like this. Getting my point, everyone? Now you are looking at the perfect grid of this image. So this makes easier for computer to detect the face from the image. So that's why zoom in a little bit. And finally, we get to see this answer that we have detected two faces from the image. Getting my point, everyone? Is this clear that how we detected the faces? Is it clear, guys? Give me a confirmation. Is it clear to all of you? Okay, now let's do one more thing. Let's see how to detect a face from the camera. Okay, how to perform live face detection. So, are you ready for this? To see a live face detection part? First of all, CV2 dot video capture. So, video capture is a predefined method we have in OpenCV. There are two arguments that we have to pass, either 0 or some video path. Let's say if I have a video, I can pass the path of the video also. So it will start capturing this video frame by frame. So I'll use a loop while true capture dot read, and it will start reading frame by frame. Okay, it will start reading the video frame by frame, and it will return two things. One is image and one is flag. Okay, I think first one will be flag. So let me print the image, or let's say the flag. Just for the confirmation part I'm doing, because let me check whether this will. Okay, so we have written image comma flag like this. So we have to write flag first and then image. So it will return you two parameters. One is flag and one is image. Flag is true or false, some boolean value. Why true and false? Like if video path is like video is not available, video is corrupted, camera is not working, then in flag variable you will have false. You will receive false. But if flag is true, then it will be easy for me to detect the face. So I will write if flag. It means if my camera is working properly, if video is working properly, then it will go inside the if. And if the flag is giving you false, then I will print camera not working. So you will get to know that whether your camera is working properly or not. And now, har feature for currency detection, yeah, you can use, but only if you have the file of har feature of currency. By default, there is no file. I don't think that there is a file, but if there is a file, then you can use. Or you have to learn that how to create your own har features on har cascade file. Okay, it's a long procedure to build your own har features on har cascade files. Then you can do. Now, after getting the video, we'll do one thing. Start detecting the face from the video. So just copy these lines. paste here. So first I will detect the faces, and then the faces will be detected from here, and then I will write these three lines. And at the end, after the exit of this loop, copy this line. So it will close the window, whatever window it has opened. Now, this is the final code. Let me go through with this code line by line. First, I load the video from my system using video capture. Then I start a while loop, and then capture.read will give you two variables. One is true or false, and one is the image. Frame by frame, it will start reading the image, and an image variable, you will get a frame at a time, one frame at a time. And I will detect the face from that particular frame. And then I will draw the rectangle on that. Let's execute. So now you can see there is a video I am using here, but the size of video is very large, like, so it's high resolution. So I will do one thing. I can just resize my this window. So you will be able to see small size window. So I will use cv2.resize. I want to resize my image. One argument will be none. Second argument will be 0.5, comma f5 is equal to 0.5. It means I am doing the half of my window. Okay, 0.5 means half of the original window. This is the output. Now, I know this is not the camera, but I'm telling you that how to detect the faces from the video first. Okay. So isn't it amazing? Like in few line of code, we have detected the faces from a video. Okay. Now let's see how it is going to detect the faces from your camera. And to detect the face from your camera, just copy this code, paste here, and instead of this video1.mp4, just pass only one parameter, that is 0. So 0 is for your default camera. So I will write here, this code is for camera. So first I will close my default camera because I will start the video from here now. And there is one more line you have to write, that is capture dot release. In case of you are using camera, you have to write capture dot release. Why? Because the camera object will be held by this particular OpenCV object. That's why I have to write capture dot release. Shift enter. It will start the camera. You can see my face now. It is detecting my face. Okay. So this is one of the best thing you are learning right now, the face detections and all, how it is done in Python using few line of code. The main thing is that you can get the code from anywhere. Okay, this code is not like very tough, not very huge code. Main thing is the mathematics that was running behind this, how it was detecting the face, what was the maths it was using. That's what I told you first. So this is the major thing, integral image concept and the hair feature, adaptive boosting. These are the things that goes behind. Okay, you can learn these type of code from internet, you know that easily. You can just search on YouTube and all, but no one is, I don't think there are a lot of people I have seen, they generally talk about the mathematics that goes behind this. So that's why I focus generally on these type of things. So I hope you have enjoyed this part, like how easily we can detect the faces and all. Okay, or anything you'd like to ask? Any doubts? Anyone? Any doubts? Give me a confirmation, everyone, that whether it's clear for you, all of you. Third feature of currency available on GitHub. Are you asking me or you are telling me whether it is available on GitHub? How can we make a prediction without Python environment? Without Python environment means what? Like you don't want to use Python environment, then what you will using? If you are asking about the hair feature of currency, then we have to search for it whether it is available. You can just Google it. Okay, how to make a running application, something like a web application. I think you are talking about. So you can use either PyQt for desktop applications or Django for web application. What about age detection? To detect the ages, first we need data set of age. Let me show you. I have a data set for age detection, that how to detect the age of people. So I collected data from internet, and you can also collect the data from this videos part and all. So first, let me show you a data for age classification. To classify the age, I have the images. There are lots of images you can see of Bollywood celebrities, Bollywood and Tollywood celebrities. Okay, so these are the celebrities images. There are only faces. Now I have a train file, and in this file it is written that which face belongs to which age category. That whether this person belongs to a middle age group or young age group or old age group. So that's how first you need to collect the data for age detection part. Okay. Concept of integral image. Integral image was basically for make used to make the calculation faster, so that if I am using my original image, then I have to do calculation for like a lot of numbers. Like you can see here, it follows that any two rectangular feature can be computed in 6 array reference, any three rectangular feature in 8, and any four rectangular feature in 9. So by using a single rectangle creating in your integral image, we can do one thing, that we can easily use any one of the image, any one of the rectangle, and just pick any four values around the corners, and use some maths, and finally you will get the outcome similar to the previous one. And if you want to like go through with the whole concept again, then video will be shared with you all, so you can just go through with again and these concepts again and again, any number of time. Okay, so shall we move forward now? So the next thing I'll tell you here is that how to detect, how to store the faces, how to store the data of face. Okay, so that you will be able to apply machine learning, any classification algorithm, anything. But first thing you need is data. So let's say if you want to implement face recognition, to implement face recognition, I need data of my faces first. Okay, or you want to recognize the face of Amir Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, then you need the data of their faces. How you going to collect the data of faces? By using this code, we can easily collect the data. Let me show you how. First of all, if I will write cv2 dot I am right, and then the two parameters again I have to write in cv2 dot I am right, file name. Let's say file name is image curly brackets dot png, and then dot format. I'll pass I variable something here, then comma image. So what is I variable? I is by default 0. So it will start storing my images one by one. Okay. Now what it will do, let me show you. Let's create a folder known as images. Okay. So I have created a folder here, images, and let's write images slash image curly bracket dot png. Now, if I go to this folder is blank right now, you can see, and shift enter. And now let's go back to this folder, and you will see image will start downloading, and instead of downloading, I will say it will start capturing the images one by one, but we are getting the error first. The resize error we are getting here. So I will do one thing. I will just comment this line, shift enter again. Camera not working. Okay, my camera is optimized there. So I have to stop my video, stop this code, and let's execute this code again. So you can see now the camera has started, and it is saving my images. You can see one by one it is saving my images of face, or it is not the face, it is completely downloading the image, the frame it is receiving. So what I will do is I will just store my face. Okay, so you can see it is continuously detecting my face and saving images one by one. So let me just close this, because I don't want images to save like this. Okay, are you getting my point? Like what it was doing exactly? It was saving one by one frames, but I don't want to save the whole frame. I just want to save my face, only the face part. Now, how to save the only face part? So we have to slice the face from this image. How to do that? Let's see. So I will write image square bracket y colon y plus height x colon x plus w, then this, and it will give you a face like this. Okay. Now, can you tell me what it will do? Can you guys tell me how it is working? How it will be able to fetch the face from the image? What is the meaning of this particular line that I have written? Basically, first it will start. I'm slicing my original image. Okay, I'm slicing from my image y colon y plus h. It means from the y to the height. Okay, so it will only take the height and width of the window of the face part only. Why only face part? Because y, x and y are the coordinate of my face. So I am slicing the array, the original array. I'm slicing only the part where x and y is available till their height and width, and last one is for color channel. So you get the face. Now remember one thing, each and every face will be of different size. So CV2 dot resize your face into, let's say I'm resizing my face 100 by 100. Okay. Now I will start storing my face. Let's execute this code now and go back to your machine here, and let's see what will be the output now. But first we have to close the camera. Let's execute again and let's see the output. Now you will see only the face part of from this image will be stored. You can see at the back. Are you able to get understand this point that it is only storing my face? Okay. So that's how it is collecting the data of my face. That's how I can collect the data of my face to perform face recognition. Okay. Is it clear till here? Okay. Now, after completing this part, after fetching the faces, but the problem is that we do not have to store the images. Why we are storing the images? It will occupy my memory. Are you getting my point? If I'll keep on saving, if I say I want to store my 1000 images, then it will store 1000 images, but how much memory it will take? So that's why we do not have to save the images. We will save the array. Now this one is the final part, how to store the image array. Let's take a variable face data. Okay, I'm creating a list known as face data, and I want this face data to collect my facial features, collect the data of my face and store it in a list. So I will just write face underscore data dot append, and what I have to append, I have to append the face. That's it. Okay, now I'm not going to save the faces now. I will have one list, and this list will save my data of face. Shift enter. Okay, again camera not working because my camera is already busy here. Let's stop it. Let's execute it now again, and it will start the camera and it will start collecting the faces. And now the faces are collected and stored in a list. Okay, it is keep on storing the faces again and again till until I close this window. It will keep on collecting the data of my face. So let me close this window and let's check the length of face data. So it has collected 161 faces. Okay, now do one thing, import numpy as np and np dot as array. Convert your list into a array. Okay, now let's check face data dot shape. So it has 161 images of 100 into 100 into 3 dimension. Each and every image is of 100 by 100 by 3. I can show you the plot using matplotlib. So you can plot any one of the image like I am show and pass face data square bracket 0 to it. It will show the image that is being stored in the array. You can check any of your image. Now this is the data that is stored. Okay, but don't think like it is showing blue color and all. I'm not in blue color. Okay, it's not my color. The matplotlib is just showing you the array because it's a graph. It's not the image showing. It is not the purpose of this thing. Finally, np.save. my face data dot npy comma face data. That's it. Now my 161 images, okay, pay attention to this part. My 161 faces part has been stored in a single file, and the size of this file is 4 MB. In 4 MB, I have stored my 161 faces. Getting my point, everyone? Okay. So I know there is a lot of code right now in front of you to get through with this. So right now what I'm doing is I'm sharing this file with all of you on GitHub. Okay, so I have shared the file image processing part one, and I'm giving you 5 minutes of break to go through with this file. Okay, just do one thing right now. Open this file and look at the code and all, and ask if there is any doubt you have in any part. Okay, just go through with this file. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Okay, go through with this file. Ask any doubt, whatever you feel like in 5 minutes you can do. Okay, so shall we resume now? Anything you would like to ask? Anyone? Any doubts? Have you seen the code? Guys, have you seen the code or not? Yeah, this file is downloadable. You can download this file. I will upload the file on GitHub. Okay, I will upload the same file on GitHub. You can just download this file. Any doubts you find, like any code difficult to understand, anything? Okay, so basically this was the introduction to our image processing, how to do image processing using Python. 1.2 means 20% scaling of image. By default is 1.0, it means 100%. 1.1 means 110%. 1.2 means 120%. So I have scaled, I have zoomed into my image 120%. Or any other doubt? Anyone? Then we shall move further now. Okay. So how many of you are doing image processing in your field? Is there anyone from you all, like, who is the research, who is doing the research on image processing or something? Anyone? So if you have any doubts related to image processing, then you can ask now. Yep, it's better for you to switch to Python because it will get more tough and tough if you will get into the detail of Java programming, because now you can see you can easily detect and perform image processing in few line of code in Python. So it will be a better option for switching to Python. Yes, sir, definitely. Anytime. I have shared the contact details. Just contact anytime if you want any kind of help. Or any other, anyone would like to ask anything related to image processing? Okay, so now if you do not have any doubt, then we can move forward now. Shall I? Everyone, give me a confirmation. So the next part will be talking about the text processing. Is there anyone who is working on text processing in their research? Because in text analysis, there could be a lot of application like spam classification, sentiment analysis, chatbots. There are a lot of applications are running in market based on text processing. And have you seen the video that I shared yesterday, Matplotlib? Have you guys seen the video yesterday? I shared with you all Matplotlib in 15 minutes, so that we'll get one more example to understand or work with. How to detect currency, which algorithm is better? To detect the currency first, I think you need to collect the data set. So once you get the data of currencies, then there are two things that one is you can build your cascade classifier if you want to detect the currency from image. Okay, so if you will search on internet, create your own har cascade, then let me show you what are the websites you can take reference. Okay, so there are a lot of steps that you have to perform step by step. Okay, then you will be able to create your own har cascade file, and then you can detect the currency from the image. Okay, so these are the two URL that I am sharing with you. Okay, so I have shared two URLs with you all, and these are the basic tutorials to create your own har cascade. If you want to build your own har cascade, then please go through with these two websites. Then you can build your own har cascade. Okay, so finally, shall we start the text processing part now? And you can tell me anytime if you feel like you are getting overburdened today. Okay, I know there are a lot of sessions you are taking, a lot of practical is going on, a lot of mathematics is going on. So please let me know whenever you want some relaxation part. Okay, but we have to keep up the spirit because these things do not happen in daily. Okay, so sometimes we get to know each other and learn these type of things, these type of details. So that's why we have to keep up the spirit for the next half hour also, and for the next session that we have to do tomorrow. Okay, so we are talking about text processing here. First of all, in text processing, we can have the data in raw format, in text format, and in text format, either you will have mails or let's say a message or a review or anything. Okay. Now, how to perform text processing or why we need text processing, what sort of application uses it. The best example is spam classification that is used by Google. Gmail is using spam classification. There is an application known as Grammarly, very popular application running on internet. It is also using machine learning to classify the text and to perform text processing. Chatbots like Siri or Alexa. Okay, so these are the sort of examples that are running based on text processing. I'll tell you one fact. There is a short film, Sunspring. There is a science fiction film. Okay, do you know what is the main or like the uncommon thing about this movie? I don't think that you might have heard about this one. Is there anyone who have heard about this short film, Sunspring? Anyone heard about this? Okay, so it's a 9 minutes short film. Now, what is the coolest thing about this short film is its script is written by neural networks. Okay, so Sun Spring is a 2016 experimental science fiction short film entirely written by an AI bot using neural network. Getting a point, like what is the level of text processing in today's time? It is able to write the script for the films. Okay, so this is the level of text processing. These are the examples that we can have or we can learn about. So when we talk about text processing, what are the steps that are included? First of all, when you receive the data in text format, in raw text, first thing we perform is tokenization. So do you understand this term? What is tokenization? Any idea about tokenization? What is this? Splitting the data, breaking the sentence into tokens. Exactly. Let's say I have a sentence. Hello, John. How are you? Let's watch a movie. Okay. If I have this sentence, then what tokenization will do? It will tokenize the data like this. Let me do it in Python. So you will be able to see what exactly tokenization do. So first, this is the text here I am writing. And now I will write text dot split. And after that, the output will be something like this. Okay. But the problem with this split method is that it includes these dots, then comma with it. So it will create problems in future. Like if there is a word John and then there is a word John, comma. Now both the words are different. Getting a point? Like it will give you different result, but both the words are same, but one word is including John, comma, and one is not including. So that's why instead of splitting using the Python split method, we will learn about NLTK, that is Natural Language Toolkit. So here we are talking about NLP, that is Natural Language Processing. And in NLP, we are talking about text processing, and we'll be using NLTK, that is Natural Language Toolkit. So it's a library NLTK that we will use. So first step is tokenization. Okay. Now the second step is remove stop words and punctuations. Okay. So what are the stop words and punctuations? Stop words are like is, am, are, that, those, these, why, as, have. So these words are the stop words, and we have to remove these kind of words from our data. And why we have to delete, why we have to remove these type of words? Because these type of words do not have any significance. They are just used for grammatical parts. Okay. But when I talk about a simple sentence formation, they are used. But if let's say if I remove R, uh, and then you, so these words do not make any sense right now for me. I only want the major words like watch, movie, hello. These are the major words. I want these words to be used. So that's why we have to remove the stop words. And then what is punctuations? Punctuations, let me show you. In Python, we can directly remove punctuations using string package. So string has a punctuation attribute which will return all the punctuation. So we have to remove these punctuations from our data. So how we remove it? So there is a method str dot make trans, and first parameter blank, second parameter blank, third parameter is string dot punctuation. Now, after looking at the output, tell me what do you get? What do you understand? What is this? Can you tell me what is this here? Why we are receiving this type of dictionary with one, one, one? What is the meaning of this dictionary? Sky, sky of exactly. So these are the sky of punctuations. So I keep these punctuation sky in a variable table, and then I will write text dot translate. So there is a predefined method known as translate. Pass the table, and let's see the output. Isn't it looking better now? And now if I will use split, then output will be much better. Okay, that's why we need to remove punctuations. So I remove the punctuations, and after that I am getting a perfect sentence that is being splitted. Okay. Okay, is that clear now? Any doubts in this part? Give me a confirmation, everyone. Is it clear till here? Make trans output is not clear. Make trans is basically it's a predefined function of string where we have two parameter x and y. We generally use these parameter to replace something, but I do not have to replace anything. Then the z parameter is string dot punctuation. Now it will return the dictionary. Okay, and in this dictionary, I have 37, 38, 39. These are the ASCII number of these punctuations. So this is giving me this table. And I just put this table in a translate method and it will remove all the punctuations from my text data. Okay, so now let me tell you one more thing that how NLTK will help you. So from NLTK corpus, I will import stop words. So NLTK is a predefined is a package that I have installed, and in that I have stop words. So let me show you how we are going to remove the stop words. So I will write stop words dot words and pass English. So it will show you the stop words of English language only, or it has the stop words of each and every language. Like it has stop words for Hindi, Punjabi, Tamil. Each and every language stop words are available. So I will write stop words dot words English, and these are the English stop words. Okay, simple one. Now I can do one thing. I can convert it into a set. So let's say these are the stop words. I have converted these stop words into set. Why I'm converting, I'll tell you. Wait a minute. And again, do one thing. Pick this line, convert the data into lowercase, split the data and convert it into set. These are the tokens. Now, I have a set of tokens and I have a set of stop words. What if I write tokens minus stop words? What will be the output of it? This will be the output. So are you getting why I converted the data into set? So I subtracted set 1 minus set 2. I will get the data which set 1 has and set 2 do not have. That's it. So here we have removed the stop words easily. Okay. Any doubts? Anyone? Let me show you the code again. So first we got the punctuations. I removed all the punctuations. Then from NLTK we imported the stop words and I just need to use English language stop words. After that, I converted into a set so that I can apply the set operation, the subtraction, set 1 minus set 2. This is the final output. Now tell me if there is any doubt. No, words will not get repeated if you will use set. Set will make all the words unique. If you will pass set, if you will create the set, it will make all the words unique. But if you want to keep the repeated words, then do not use set. Iterate them. How to take union? So either you can use a predefined method union, okay, or you can use or like this. You can also take the intersection like this, okay. Or you can use the methods tokens dot union, tokens dot intersection. Okay, so I hope it is clear till here to everyone that first tokenization is done, remove stop word and punctuation is done. Then comes the third step that is known as lemmatization or stop words, which means, sorry, stop words not, it is stemming, which means to convert a particular word into its first form, into its original form. Let's say there is a word going. What is the actual word for going? Go. Let's say I have a word playing. What is the actual word? Play. Okay. If I am using a word bought, what is the actual word? Buy. Getting my point, everyone? So this is known as stemming. So why I have to perform a stemming? So this is stemming and this is lemmatization. So by if you will use lemmatization, all the operations will be done because stemming won't be able to perform bought into buy. But lemmatization will be able to convert the bought word into buy. I will show you practically. But right now I'm just telling what is this. This is the converting your actual data into its first form. Fourth step is vectorization. And by vectorization, it means that I will be converting my text data into vectors using TF-IDF. And now here, TF means term frequency and IDF means inverse document frequency. Okay, so here we convert our text data into vector, and vectors means into some numerical part so that I can apply machine learning because machine learning cannot be applied to a text part. We have to convert the text part into some mathematical or vector part. So that's how it will be converted using TF-IDF, or there is one more technique known as count vectorization. By using any one of the technique, I can convert my text data into vector. Okay. So guys, are you getting the things or not? Because I know it's like getting more and more. So if you have anything to ask, say, then please tell me. Because there are a lot of concepts I'm telling you right now. First image processing, then this text processing. But I'm trying to keep the thing simple, not complicated, by showing you some practical examples also, so that you can relate each and everything. Okay, so guys, is there is anything that you want to add or like ask or then anything related to your text processing and all, then you can ask so that I'll understand what exactly you want. Because I'm just telling you each and everything in a generic way. So these are the most common part that in each and every algorithm we have to perform first these steps. So do you want more or should I stop here? I want answers from everyone. Guys, do you want more to learn or you just want to stop here right now? Because I know there are a lot of concepts right now we have. Image searching. Like image searching, like Google uses the image searching part. You're talking about that thing. Basically, to understand that particular part, first we have to implement some ML or deep learning related to the image processing. Then we'll be able to get into the concepts of how image searching is done. Because first, whenever you put the image in the Google search box, it extracts the caption, it converts the image into some caption, and then starts searching for the image. So there is algorithm uh, captioning, image captioning that generally goes. So if I pass the image, it generates the caption for the image and search for the image for that particular caption. So again, there is a lot of knowledge of machine learning and deep learning required at that level. Okay, so I won't be teaching now furthermore. Like I don't want like to be get overburdened with all of you. Which algorithms are used for stemming? There are two. Generally, we have Porter stammer, then WordNet limitizer, Leicester stammer, Snowball stammer. Three to four algorithms we have for stemming. Okay, or any other doubt? Any other question? Anyone? Yes, still there is a lot of scope of research in text processing. Already there has been a lot of task has been done, but still, if I talk about like the chat systems, you can build a lot of better chat systems to help people. Because still like Siri or Alexa, they are keep on updating themselves. They are keep on improving themselves. So still, it means there is an improvement. So if there is an improvement, then it means you can perform a lot of research still. Okay, so if you do not have any query, then I'll give you one task, basic task for me. You have to do one favor for me, guys. Okay, because whenever we perform FTPs and all, there are a lot of things like if you will search for Brain Mentors on Google, basically Brain Mentors is my company. Yeah, definitely. Tomorrow we'll be also learning about deep learning. Okay, so you have to do one favor for me, like you have to write down a Google review for Brain Mentors. So can you do that right now? Just search for Brain Mentors on Google, and you can go to Google reviews, and then please write down your review, whatever you feel like about the training, whatever you feel like about the sessions we are having right now. And it will motivate me more and more to go into more details of deep learning or text processing. Okay, so guys, please share your feedbacks on Google review. Search for Brain Mentors and go to the Google review section and please write down your reviews. We have 5 minutes remaining. In 5 minutes, you can just write down the reviews. Okay. After that, we'll wind up the session. camera capture error. The reason could be it is unable to read the higher cascade file. Make sure the higher cascade file and your code is at the same location and you are reading the higher cascade file properly. So this error generally comes whenever it is unable to read the higher cascade file or it is not able to read the image. Either one of the file it is not reading properly. Either the image or the higher cascade file. Any one of the file is missing for this. Go to Google, search for brain mentors. Okay, go to Google, search for brain mentors, and then you will see reviews here. Like reviews are like there is a link here 506 Google review. Click on this, you will be able to write down your review then. Okay, if it's done, then Vishal sir, we can wind up the session for today because I think there is already a lot of things.
Yeah, we can do, sir. If any participant have any query, they can write in the chat window. Otherwise, we will close the session. Can you please confirm in the chat window? Can we close it? Thank you for the confirmation. We will meet on tomorrow at 10:45. I request to all participants, please join on time, otherwise you will miss lots of things. रवि सर के पास खजाना हमारे पास तो बहुत कुछ शेयर करना चाहेंगे वो. Please join on time. And now I request to Uttam sir, please close the meeting.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.